Hello and welcome to Reginaldesq. I'm Underhook and this is my review of the Tier 7 American SPG, the M12. So is it any good? Yes, it's a good SPG. After driving the M44 though, it does feel like a letdown because the M44 at Tier 7 was just, Tier 6 sorry, was just totally overpowered. This does feel like a letdown and at first I thought, it's no good, but then I realised it's actually quite a good SPG. Comparing it to the M44, it has 39mm of penetration, which is the same as the M44 had, but it does more damage per shot. It does an average of 700 per shot, where the M44 had an average damage of 550. And that is the main difference. The other thing is this has a splash radius of 8 meters, whereas the M44 had a splash radius of 7 meters. So those are the two areas where this potentially is better, although the armor is thicker, so you definitely need the extra damage. However, in every other respect, this tank is worse than the M44. For example, the rate of fire in this with a fully trained crew is 2.17 and the M44 is 3.02. So the M44 fires around about 30% more rounds. The shell velocity on this is 490, it was 430 on the M44, so the gun arc on this is not as high, so it's harder to hit some tanks in certain places than it was in the M44. It is a long-range gun though and does shoot pretty much the entire length of the map. The aim time on this, fully aimed, is about 10 seconds. It was around 9 seconds on the M44. The gun traverse, which is how much the gun moves from side to side, on this tank is about 14 degrees to either side. On the M44 it was 30 degrees to either side. That means on this tank we need to turn our tracks more often when we're changing our aim, which ultimately slows down our aiming time. The top speed on this tank is 38 kilometers an hour forward, which is fine. It's no problem with it at all. The M44 had a potential forward speed of 56. So you can see there are big differences. My crew is fully trained and they all have brothers in arms. The top two guys are working on perks, so don't worry about them. But the driver has clutch braking to help speed up my track traverse and ultimately aiming time. The other three are all working on camouflage. This does have premium ammunition, and if you fire the premium ammunition you get an extra meter of splash radius. That's pretty much the only difference. I have a camouflage net fitted, a gun rammer fitted to speed up my loading time, and a gun lane drive to speed up my aiming time. So my aiming time is down to, it says 4.69 for 60%, which work out about 8 seconds to fully aim the gun, and my rate of fire is up to 2.57. So it's working a little bit better than it would be at standard fit out. So right off the bat we can see the M12 has pretty good damage per minute compared to the other tanks. Penetration of 39mm is kind of average, except if you look at the Russians, which now have 52mm of penetration. So at this tier there is now a clear differential between the damage done by tanks. So the Russians are clear and away now, do have the highest penetration and most damage. Over 1,000 damage per shot on the Russian tanks. They do pay a heavy price for that though. So our average damage is 700, which is about the same as the others. The poor old Crusader has 600, which really the only compensation is a bit of a quicker aim time. So it's a bit of a dud tank, the Crusader at this tier, I think. The rate of fire of 2.17 compares pretty much mid-range with everybody except for the Russians. Their rate of fire is just over 1 round per minute at 1.15. So a miss in the Russian tanks must be absolutely devastating, whereas a hit would be very rewarding, I imagine. The explosion radius is 8 meters, is pretty much average. The Russians though is 11.5. So once again, huge damage, huge penetration, huge splash radius. The damage must be very, very high with their 203mm guns, but the heavy price they pay is in their aiming time and their loading time. Loading time's terrible, as you can see. Shell velocity of 490 in ours is actually the highest of the bunch, which means we probably have the worst gun arc, but it's not terrible though. It feels okay in this tank. Ammo capacity of 20 is enough. It's not too bad. The aim time of around about 10 seconds is around about average. The Russians obviously are a bit higher, and as I said, the Crusader SP is a bit quicker to make up for its low damage and low penetration. The gun dispersion of 0.67 is around about average, except the Russians of course have worse accuracy as well. and we have 14 degrees to either side, which is also pretty much kind of average. The GW Panther is much better at 26. The Russians are terrible at only 4 degrees to either side, which means that they have to keep moving their tracks to aim, which increases their aim time. So, kind of terrible tanks to play unless you get some hits. Forward speed of 38 kilometers an hour is about, well, it's actually one of the slower ones, except for the Russians, of course, which are much slower at 30. The terrain resistances aren't very good in this tank, and armor is pointless mentioning. And the hit points are smack on average. That's about all there is to say about it. The map is Karelia, and it's a tier 9 game. Problem with this is that even though this does 150 more points of damage than the M44 did at a tier lower, the penetration is the same. So I'm really finding now that whilst the M44, I thought I could actually control the outcome of a match by focusing on a flank, and when that flank was damaged, focus on the other flank. With this tank, really the damage you're doing, I feel, just isn't enough to control the game. So you're just another member of the team. You try and do your best, but you're not really going to, I feel anyway, control the outcome of a game in this like you could with the M44, because the armor is that much thicker now that some of the heavily armored tanks really, the damage is inconsequential to them. So you kind of need to pick your targets a little bit more. So yeah, when you're bottom tier, it kind of does make a difference in this tank, whereas in the M44 I didn't care. Obviously if you hit a scout tank, it's devastating to them, but you know, try hitting them. So we land on the other side of the rock to that WZ, but because of the splash race we still managed to get some stun on him. So hopefully people shoot him while he's stunned and we get a bit of stun damage for that. As you can see, the arc isn't as good in this gun, but it's not too bad. I'm shooting past him because I can't actually get on him. We do 185 points of damage, so that's okay. We might give the Panther a bit of love now. I tend to aim my gun. If a tank moves away, I often don't follow the tank, because sometimes you try and follow them and then they just come back to where you were and you wasted your time chasing them with your aim. You can see there, so we're having a bit of trouble shooting over this rock. I can land it here, hopefully it goes over the rock, but no, we actually hit the rock. So the gun arc isn't as good, so nothing we can do about it. So I'm aiming in because I assume he's going to keep moving back, and he does. Just trying to see now where I can get shots. Unfortunately he's disappeared again. I'll let the shell go anyway. I probably should focus on the other flank. Quite a few tanks are visible on the other flank, but what I really want to do is make sure we've won this flank before I start focusing on the other flank. It might be a mistake. It's something that works well in the M44 where you can just basically destroy a flank. So you only need 277. It is a heavily armoured tank. So you can pretty much decimate a flank so your team's won that flank, then switch to the other flank. With this tank, it's a much harder. You can help your tanks, but you can't really sort of make them win, whereas you can in M44. On that note, I'm raving on about the M44, but my win rate in the M44 was 64%. My win rate in this tank is 52%. My damage ratio in the M44 is 5.43. In this tank it's 4.81. 4.81 isn't shabby, it's quite good, so I'm not disappointed with it. The destruction ratio, M44 was 2.03 and this is 1.5. So still pretty good ratios in this tank, so it's not a bad tank. It's just, trying to compare it to the M44. Let's see if we can get rid of this Tiger now, and we missed! Oh, he's on such low health, 5% health, and the shell unfortunately just dropped short, and we weren't able to get rid of that Tiger. That would have been, that was a pretty important shot, so it's a bit of a bad miss. Someone pinged the map about this comet, so the comet must be giving people some grief, so I've decided to have a go. I've just blind fired there. Hopefully we can get him to keep his head down. Someone else gets rid of that tiger eventually. So we did splash the comet, and it looks like we've taken about 14% of his health away. See if we can get another shot on it. It's obviously creating problems for the tanks on the left there. Can we hit it? I'll let the shell go. Hopefully he doesn't move. Not bad. 254 damage is pretty good. I don't think it was a direct hit though. What I have found though, even tanks with lowish armour, you can't really one-shot them with this tank. So I played another game where I hit a Hellcat. It was in a bush. It had disappeared, but it was a direct hit. I saw it direct hit. And I think I did about 350 points of damage to it, which is decent damage. But really, a Hellcat is an open-topped tank destroyer, tier 6, really a tier 7 Ardish. A direct hit should pretty much just destroy it. So they've done a good job balancing Ardy, the fact that it doesn't do that. It's just kind of, in some circumstances, really it's inexplicable. Yeah, so I let that shell go in case that guy backed up again, because he was sort of going forwards and backwards there, but looks like I don't know, we might have splashed him. I can't quite get a shot on the tortoise there. I would like to hit that tortoise to try and stop it, but we'll go for this Tiger P since I can get a shot on the Tiger P. It's just because of where I am. I've got a rock on my left, and that's preventing me from getting a shot. I just have found... Oh, that looked like a direct hit there on that Tiger P. Yeah, I've just found that that rock on my left has saved me from counter battery quite a few times, even though I don't know why it would. It just seems to do so. It shouldn't save me from counter battery. Also saves you from scouts who just come flying around the side. I have decided to move now though, so I've recognised the threat is huge on that side now, so I'm trying to manoeuvre my tank so I can get shots at him. Looks like our Lorraine, the other artillery, is doing the same thing. I really want to try and get a shot on this tortoise, but I still can't get to him, so we're going to have to try and focus on these other tanks. Hopefully my teammates can take care of the tortoise. Damn it, this guy is cleverly moving behind the rock, but it looks like he's going to come out, so I'll let the shell go here. And we get a good hit there, 203 on the Lowy, or the Lev, but yeah, just really hard to stop heavy tanks with this artillery. You've got to hit them a lot. Looks like some people are getting shots into them while they're stunned though, so that's good for us. We might get a bit of stun assist damage. And somebody else finishes them off. Looked like an artillery shell, so it might have been the Lorraine. That tortoise is a real worry though. The Centurion we've got there probably will have trouble penning him from the front. Same with the T25/2 there, he'll have trouble as well. And if they try and get to the sides, the other tanks in the back will probably finish them off. So we're in a spot of bother here. We've got our Oho on the other flank. He's just sitting there. You're probably blind and can't do too much. I cannot hit that tortoise. So let's go for this Panther. Someone else has already hit him. Looks like he's moving back. No, he's coming forward. He's manoeuvring too much for me. Damn it. Let the shell go now. And a good hit. 266. Looked like we landed on the engine deck, which should do the maximum damage and really probably should have fully penetrated, but for some reason it didn't. I think it is a little bit rigged now. What have we got? 39 mils of pen. Maybe the engine deck on the Panther 2 is thicker than 39 mils. I doubt it. Maybe it's 40 mils. Maybe that's why they've made it 39, so you cannot fully penetrate a tank like anywhere, even on the engine deck. That might have been what they had to do to balance artillery, because artillery was very annoying. Gee, we can't shoot that tortoise, so do we just get... Oh, Panther 2 right next to me. He's just been spotted. Oh no. This is the end, folks, but let's at least get a shot on this guy if we can. He shoots me, does 242 damage to me, we do 263 to him, and now I'm trying to run, hopefully get enough time to reload the gun before this Panther just drives over the hill and kills me. I don't know why he hasn't done that yet. He's given me time to reload, which is not the cleverest thing, but he gets his shot in. Damn it. That's the end of the game, folks. So that was a class nothing in the tank. We got smashed there. Although this is actually the highest damage I did in this tank. So we did 2,483 damage, Now, when I finished the game, it actually said I'd done 1907 damage. So obviously, we did quite a bit of damage with some of those shots into positions where we didn't actually see if it hit or not. We got it because we did get at least one of them was a direct hit on the Lowry or something like that, or maybe it was the Tiger P. So obviously, we did some good damage there. We came second on our team for damage and only did 483 XP, even though, as I say, it's the most damage ever done in the tank. Next screen, and we fired 16 rounds. 6 of them were direct hits. That's more direct hits than I normally get in the game, which probably explains the damage, and 9 splash damage. 9 splash damage is pretty typical for this gun, but 6 is pretty high. 2,483 damage, 1,954 over 300 meters, so it was at close range with the Tiger. The Panther, I think, was most of that. We damaged 6 vehicles, unfortunately didn't destroy any, so it didn't really help our team enough. A little bit of assistance damage, probably for tracking at 6, and damage caused the vehicle stunned was only 387, which probably explains the very low XP we got considering the amount of damage we did. As you can see, only 3,027 credits made. When you think this is the most damage I've ever done in this tank, you can see that the profit in this tank is pretty poor. You don't make a lot of money in the tank. The map is Prokhorovka, and this time it's a tier 8 game, so hopefully some of the armor will be a little bit softer. I like to go, well, you'll see where I go, and the reason I go to the spot I'm going to is it seems to not get counter-batteried much. I don't think maybe a lot of people don't go to this spot, so they don't get counter-batteried very often. I can hit pretty much anywhere on the map I want to hit, and the chance of being spotted by a scout in this position is very low. And also, if scouts do come looking for you, this is probably one of the last places they'll end up. So you kind of maximum survivability in this spot, and I can hit pretty much anything wherever I want in this particular SPG. Takes a little while to get there is the only downside, so you're kind of not ready to fire until a little bit after the tanks have been spotted. We're ready now though, we're in position, and can we get this KV2? He's gone off the screen, unfortunately. I'm going to let the shell go anyway, but it drops really short, so that was a wasted shot, I'm pretty sure. Oh, it's giving us names instead of tanks, is it? Let me fix that. There, that's better. Now we're getting names of tanks. So just waiting again to aim in case that tank gets spotted again. But now we've had this tank spotted up here, so I definitely want to take care of the hill, because we only have one tank spotting, and then the other we have the KV2. If those tanks are dead, they will dominate the hill and we will lose. So I want to make sure that anything that appears up here, I smash it. We did 275 with that hit, and somebody shot it just after us, so we would have got stun assist for that. This guy's coming up with the LTG to finish it off. He got slammed though for his effort, and we would have got a fair bit of stun assist on that, I think. 2 other heavies have been spotted up there, but I just someone pinged the map here, so I assume enemy artillery is here. So I'm quickly scanning to see if I can do some counter battery work, if I manage to see a shell being fired. Since the update, I have not ever seen a shell that has been fired, so I'm wondering whether that has been taken out of the game again. They took it out of the game once a long time ago, put it back in, and it looks like they may have removed it again. I haven't seen counter battery fire, or haven't seen it in fire since. I did see 4 tankers and a dog who does some pretty interesting videos, did analysis of it before it was released, I think, before one was released, and it showed that they were definitely experimenting with it. I did see a shell just then, but it looked like it was an incoming shell, not an outgoing shell. Yeah, it looks like you have to be almost have your cursor over the top of artillery or within your pretty much aiming circle for you to see the fire, to do counter battery fire, so it's much harder than it used to be. Either that was what he did when he tested it on before they released it, either that or maybe now they've actually just taken it out of the game altogether. If you have seen counter battery or have seen arty shells firing, let me know, because I'd like to know. So unfortunately the train blocked our shot. We hit the train instead of the stutter and mill there. That would have been close to a one-shot. Stutter Mill has very little armour. But he gets away and lives another day. Our team is playing this pretty well. It's still very close. We've lost 2 tanks. We lost our KV2 on the right-hand side of the map. They've only lost 1 tank. So we don't really have many. I only have that LTG on the right, and that's my real worry here. But it looks like on the left that the guys are pushing. I notice at WZ, I just fire at this AMX, and we get a splash on him, which is great. But I noticed this guy got spotted, so I'm just going to aim in at the spot there where he was spotted. Luckily, I managed to get my aim point there just in time, and I'm going to let the shell go as soon as it's finished loading. And I'm hoping he hasn't moved because his spot disappeared. But look at this T21 just sitting here, so I just let the shell go because that's his guarantee. And we get the kill. We did 260 damage on him. So I took that shot rather than the Chinese TD because he might have moved, whereas I knew the other tank was there. Okay, this guy's pushing the tank. It's not going to stop me from hitting the side of him, so I'm going to have a go. But someone else has shot him. No, he's running now. Okay. Hopefully we aim in time. I let the shell go. He changes course a little. We land near the front of him, near these heavily armoured parts. It only does 100 and... No, it doesn't even do 100, so it does less than 100 damage. But looks like someone did damage it, and we got assist damage because I think we tracked him. Come on, load. And let the shell go. Yep, beautiful. Finished off the KV2. That was worth it. Don't have anything else to shoot at the moment, so I will try and get that AMX if I can, but our guys finish him off. Looks like we're going to win now. We're up on tanks and we're pushing the left flank. As long as we can hold the right flank, as long as they don't push through. If they had pushed through on the right flank, we would have been toast, but they just probably didn't realise how weak we were on that flank. I'm waiting for this WZ to get spotted again. I know the T20 is going to spot a Scorpion, even better. No armour. Let the shell go. Oh, 176 damage. We missed him, unfortunately. I'm swapping over to the other flank now just to see if anything gets spotted while I'm waiting, because the tank that was pushing down that flank got killed, but the other tanks are all moving up now, so something else will get spotted soon, so I'm going to move back over. I assume there's going to be artillery or someone hiding around this area, so I'm just pre-aiming in. Oh, there we are. And let the shell go. And my shell arrives just after it dies, so we got nothing for that, even though we were pre-aimed. Oh well. I see the Dicker Max down there. He's on 1%, and really, what's he going to do down there anyway? So I'm going to target this Lowy, or Lev. Spread the Lev. Let the shell go, because it looked like he was moving forward, but of course he reverses again, and we get a little bit of splash, that's all. Somebody hopefully will shoot him while he's stunned, and the other artillery hits him while he's stunned, so we might... Oh no, he only stunned as well. He's still on 100% health, this Lev, so... Nah, we would have got nothing for that, and... Reloading, shell gone. And we actually do 220 points of damage, which is not bad. He's getting hit by a lot of people, but no one's penning. They're penning now. That'll be lots of assistance damage for us there. Very nice. Oh, Lorraine 40T. He will explode if I hit him. He's got no armor. Come on, reload. Reload. Oh, so frustrating. I let the shell go. And we don't even get the kill. Somebody else hits it before our shell lands. Oh, well, I see this scout tank here, so I'm going to start aiming in on where he was. I don't think he's going to come out from behind the rock. Our tanks are moving forward. He'll probably be spotted if he does. Look, artillery's just hit that spot, so probably he's just received damage from that arty, and which he may have moved. So I'm going to aim a little bit further on. He may have moved to the other side of the rock a little bit. Hit about the same spot anyway. So just to let you know, I looked at the post-game stats. We did do about 132 damage to that scout tank just then. And there he is, just coming off cooldown. Oh, and Artie's there as well. Come on, reload, reload. Oh, No! We don't get to fire another shot. Game over. So that turned out to be a Class 1, another game where some of our blind shots were obviously hitting. You can see there how many tanks we actually hit. It's a lot. So Class 1 for that one, and we finished on top for our team with 1,000, exactly 1,000 XP. There you go. 1651 damage, which is pretty good, but nowhere near the 2,400 damage we did in the previous game, which we got smashed. But there you go, that's how it is. And that's mainly due to, if we look at the next screen, our stun damage. We did 1,700 damage to vehicles that were stunned, and 123 assist damage as well. So that's probably why seem to get a lot of XP for that stun damage. And if you hit tanks, stun them and nobody shoots them, it's just bad luck. A bit like spotting. 1651 actual damage though. So we hit 10 tanks, destroying 2, so that was pretty nice. 3 direct hits and 8 splash damage. So that's a bit more typical of the number of hits you get. The previous game we saw where I did a lot of damage, well, I think we had 6 direct hits, which is quite unusual. We made 13,000 profit. So like I said, this tank, don't get it to make money in because I don't fire any premium, and even then 13,000 on a Class 1, and the other game you saw only made 3,000. So not a profitable tank at all. Thank you for watching my review of the M12. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more, please subscribe to Reginaldesq, and have fun.